Hi.
Hello.
Today we want to talk about what creates cravings or what creates habits. And what we're seeing more and more is we go through kind of two phases in life experience. One is we try to cling to those experiences that we enjoy. I know I did that a lot when I'd travel around the world trying to find the ideal meal, the most sumptuous, delicious, wonderful, insightful cooking by a chef to give the ideal meal. I never found it.
Yeah, right. So what you were trying to recreate, something that felt so good in the past and
Yeah.
felt you could find it in food.
The clinging, the trying to grab onto a good experience.
Let's do this again.
Or the other is when we push away, when we resist life experience. And many of us have had many experiences like that.
So if we get, go ahead.
When we don't want to recreate an experience, in fact, we never want to have it again.
Yeah, I say something that somebody laughs at and I feel embarrassment. I'm very careful about what I say in the future because I don't want to feel that feeling again.
Yeah. And what's so great is what the nature of life really is. So those two ways are ways that we can create cravings or habits, trying to find relief from an experience we don't want to feel. And we'll jump to food or we'll jump to whatever to try to, in my mind, I'm thinking, avoid the resignation that so often we feel life is. We get resigned to our routine, our control, I don't want to feel that. And so we do the same old again and again and again, and it gets dull. It gets boring. So we try to seek relief from that experience of life through food or other substances or experiences.
So you're linking this concept of resignation or boredom or just kind of tired with how things are in life to the fact that when we're always trying to avoid, resist, recreating experience from the past, we start kind of blocking opportunities or possibilities because it might lead to that feeling again.
Yeah, very well said. And what is the purpose of life? If it's not to cling to some good experience we keep trying to recreate or push away something that we don't want to feel again, it's just so simple. It's letting everything move through. Like instead of building thought castles around a thought that comes in, we just let it move through. And that is the nature of life, for everything to come, to be allowed to move through, and to respond if there's a response that is nudged from within. But it's just about letting life move, letting life flow. And then every moment is new.
Well, give me an example of building thought castles out of resistance or something.
Yeah, so like I'll use my potato chip analogy. So if I want a potato chip, the thought comes in, potato chip. And I go, tasty. That's one layer of thought on top of that first thought that came in. Then a little later comes back potato chip. And I'll think, oh, that would be good later this afternoon, that crunchy, salty taste. There's a lot of layers in that one. And then it comes back again, of course. And I think, maybe I'll have potato chips and watch a TV movie later. And it's pretty likely if I build those many layers of thoughts, build those thought castles, but I'm going to have potato chips with the movie later.
There's a lot of momentum by then.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with hunger. Zero hunger in that. That's just a thought castle that I've built. So I'm clinging to the idea of an experience.
And so we were going to want to talk about cravings and habits. So how is it that this craving for the potato chip first comes up? How does that relate to clinging and resistance?
Well, for me, the other day I saw this was so fascinating. In my childhood, there was a lot of tension and anger and unexpectedness constantly from my parents. The one time that it was really relaxed and fun is when we did a barbecue at my aunt's house and my grandmother. And there were always potato chips. So I thought, whoa, maybe that's how I've got that linked up to a past experience. The thought just comes in. I can either let it move through like life's designed to be, or cling to it and build on it. And then it gets bigger and bigger and more real. It's like I'm creating form out of nothing.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Yeah, so if the nature of life is to grow and expand, we're always going to be thrown into new territory. Even if we have a lot of routine, we go to work and some unexpected thing comes up, and that can jar us. And so the mind, in its brilliance, is always going to try to help us come back to balance, because life is always trying to bring us back to balance, bring us back home, bring us back to that place of calm clarity that is our true nature. And
where we can easily let thoughts move on through.
Where that's the nature of life. Yeah, it's like in that place of calm and balance, we aren't clinging or resisting. We're just experiencing life, allowing life to occur. And then something comes up in this natural expansion of life. All of a sudden a deadline is cut shorter. And oh my God, how am I going to possibly do this? And that brings up anxiety. And that anxiety can be what I sometimes will call a trigger, which I mean, it reminds me of a feeling I had in the past that I've decided I don't want to feel this again. I don't want to feel the anxiety. I don't want to feel whatever came out of that. Maybe I didn't do well, I failed, whatever. And I've got my radar always out there to never feel that again. Suddenly, life brings it up again. So I have this feeling of anxiety in the mind, in its brilliance of being able to store and process information. It'll bring up, well, yeah, do you remember? We felt good when we had potato chips. And so to try and balance that kind of negative feeling with a positive feeling, to neutralize it out, to bring us back to balance, we think of something that will balance it. And when we do that over and over again a few times, now we have a habit.
Yeah, so the nature of life is to let those thoughts come in, whoosh, move right out. And next week, we're going to talk about an easy way to experience that. So this week, get curious. Notice when you reach for something, what's going on in your thinking or your feeling? And is it an old thing from an old past thought, experience that you're clinging to or wanting to push away? Recipe.
What's the recipe?
So great. I have never liked eggplant, and the farm that we volunteer for gave me an eggplant. So I thought I got to do something with
growth and expansion.
Right, growth and expansion. So I made this Moroccan fire roasted tomato, eggplant, garbanzo bean stew that is so good.
It's really good.
Yeah, so that's the recipe for today. And it's easy to make if you want to use canned garbanzo beans. I soaked and cooked my own, but if you want to, you've got a can of tomatoes, garbanzo beans, and eggplant. And I used a number of hot peppers that were really good. So give it a try and see what you think. It's interesting. We hear from clients, I thought this food wasn't going to be good, and I'm eating things that I really, really like and am satisfied with. So explore.
Yeah,
Give
grow
it
and
a go.
expand.
Yeah, grow and expand.
All right,
Thanks.
thanks. See you next week.